So these are, I promised quotes, and so here's a few quotes. Warren Buffett, words of wisdom. Look at market fluctuations as your friend rather than the enemy. Profit from folly rather than participate in it. I don't remember which one it was, but maybe 15 years ago he wrote one of his annual reports, and he spoke of Mr. Market as a raving drunk. And the drunker Mr. Market gets, the better the wise, astute investor can do. The more crazy Mr. Market is, the better off we are. But we have to realize, so it's like you're at the poker table, if you're, what is it? If you don't know who the patsy is, you're the patsy? So, is that right? Is it fish? Right. So someone my age knows better, I don't know. Okay. Peter Lynch. Did anyone own Fidelity Magellan in 1985? I owned Fidelity Magellan in 1985. Okay. He managed Fidelity Magellan, which arguably is one of the most well-managed funds in mutual fund history. If you watch a basketball game, at the end of the game, it's 105 to 95. No one asks you, what happened in the third quarter when you lost 28-18? No one cares what happened in the third quarter. The point of this is, and I have this conversation with clients a bit, because when clients come on board, we have this conversation where what we do is we protect capital in down markets. The cost of that is we don't participate as much in up markets. So everyone here that's a client knows that's exactly what happens. Markets go down 40, we're going to go down 20. Markets go up 40, we're going to go up 20. Hopefully we go up a little bit more than we go down. But we will not participate when the market goes up 100%. We won't go up 100%. That's my guarantee to you. And that's a beautiful benefit for our clients. But sometimes when the markets are up 20%, they go, oh, why aren't we up 20%? And I say, well, it's just the end of the third quarter. We don't know what comes next. And I think the next 6 years are going to bring us some interesting times. We said this earlier in this presentation when it just started. One of the reasons we do this is behavior management, right? So we start with planning and then we communicate, because all of our client successes will come from proper behavior, not from market success. It'll come from doing the right thing, which means in March of 2009, rebalancing into equities when it's terrifying and scary, which means in April of this year, what we did, April of this year, we balanced out of equities and out of risk because we had our returns for the year that we expected. So it's doing the right thing, saving enough, not buying the boat, maybe not taking that sabbatical. It's making the right decisions, it's behavior. So this helps us keep people on plan, but the plan is the thing that determines the right behavior, and everyone's different there. So Sir John Templeton, in the stock market, the only way to get a bargain is to buy what investors are selling. Exactly what Warren Buffett said. Now, this is intellectual, so I had to put it in there. It is learning to listen to the gloom and doom at bottoms and question it, and to the exaltation at tops and question this as well, that makes a sharp investor. Okay. So if you take three things away, these are the three things. Deleveraging is a long process. We might be halfway through, maybe a third of the way through. We've got a ways to go. Europe is an absolute wild card. They have not even admitted the problem yet. They're not even admitting that solvency is the issue. And we have an incredibly powerful, innovative, and productive country that is slowly recovering. The challenge we have, and we'll have to figure this out amongst ourselves, is how much can we stimulate without overstimulating? Because there's a point when that bill comes due. It's a huge issue. We haven't, so often in all the negative stuff that we've seen here, pensions aren't even factored in, right? It's like off-balance sheet financing. And once you factor those things in, it gets very, very scary. And so when I have clients that work at Cal and come in and sit at the desk, and I say to them, well, they say, if I work 20 years, I get medical. I say, don't count on it, right? These things will get cut because they must get cut. There is no other option. They have to go down. So to the extent that somebody is relying on a public pension, I had at family camp, it's Berkeley Family Camp. So William Rogers, who's the deputy city manager for Berkeley, was there. You know William? Nice enough guy, love him to death. We were in leadership together, great guy. And he goes, oh, I know, my pension is a joke. It's not going to happen. So his plan is to go and work and get the skill set and then save money into his 403B because he knows. I I think he's maybe 4 or 5 years older than I am. So he has time. And that's the issue we're going to face. But we're going to face this issue with Social Security. We're going to face this issue in a big way with Medicare. These are all issues. We've overspent. And so the thing we have to revisit is we have to revisit the way we spend money, municipalities spend money. And what is it? So San Jose, San Bernardino, obviously Vallejo, Concord, Stockton. I mean, these are all the beginnings. And every public pension will have to face this. As an investor, so we looked at this, and this was our best investment last year, was municipal bonds. Because what was her name? Meredith Whitney, who was a bank analyst and came out with the $300 billion of municipal bond defaults comment early 2011. And we went back and we sort of looked at what state charters say. And if you buy California GO bonds, you're in a position superior to pensioners for payments. You know, we've already seen where someone from the government has said, well, we understand you're in a position that's superior, we understand you deserve your interest first, but we're not going to give that to you, we're going to give it to the pensioners. So that has happened. There is precedent for that. But that's very difficult with the people because it's pensions that invest in that, right? So it's very, it's a questionable thing for them to do that. But so those municipal bonds that we own that are, they're GOs and they're from revenue generating things, but yeah, you steer clear. From an investment perspective, you have to be smart about what you own in municipal bond world, in any debt world right now. When you go back to that chart of the euro, the EU rates, what happened when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt is we realized we can't trust everyone that we thought we could trust. Everyone that we thought would pay us back, maybe they won't. And so now it's a question. And that's true of municipalities, it's true of our federal government, and we're sort of coming around to this. And hopefully we have some intelligent conversations in the election cycle.
Speaking of people we can't trust, how serious is the LIBOR scandal? What does that mean?
So, yeah, the question is, how serious is the LIBOR scandal? It's serious to some, but some other people benefited from it. I benefited from it because I have mortgages based on LIBOR and it was held down, right? So that's a beautiful thing. So I mentioned John Malden earlier. He wrote a piece on the LIBOR scandal. And what his piece was, I don't remember the words he used, but it was brilliant. He said something to the effect, like, who is surprised by this, right? There's a back room where they determine what the rate is. Who's surprised that they manipulated it, right? Where there can be manipulation, there will be manipulation. I have one last video before we're done, and it's an incredible video. Everyone knows TED Talks. So it's a very brief video. It's a reminder that the benefits of financial planning are not financial. They're not financial.
So imagine a big explosion as you climb through 3,000 feet. Imagine a plane full of smoke. Imagine an engine going clack, 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 clack. Sounds scary. Well, I had a unique seat that day. I was sitting in 1D. I was the only one who could talk to the flight attendants. So I looked at them right away, and they said, no problem. We probably hit some birds. The pilot had already turned the plane around, and we weren't that far. You could see Manhattan. 2 minutes later, 3 things happen at the same time. The pilot lines up the plane with the Hudson River. It's usually not the route. He turns off the engines. Now imagine being on a plane with no sound. And then he says 3 words, as unemotional 3 words as I've ever heard. He says, brace for impact. I didn't have to talk to the flight attendant anymore. I could see in her eyes, it was terror. Life was over. And I want to share with you 3 things I learned about myself that day. I learned that it all changes in an instant. We have this bucket list, we have these things we want to do in life, and I thought about all the people I wanted to reach out that I didn't, all the fences I wanted to mend, all the experiences I wanted to have and I never did. As I thought about that, later on I came up with a saying, which is, I collect bad wines. Because if the wine is ready and the person is there, I'm opening it. I no longer want to postpone anything in life. And that urgency, that purpose has really changed my life. The second thing I learned that day, and this is as we clear the George Washington Bridge, which was by not a lot, I thought about, wow, I really feel one real regret. I've lived a good life. In my own humanity and mistakes, I've tried to get better at everything I've tried. But in my humanity, I also allow my ego to get in. And I regretted the time I wasted in things that did not matter with people that matter. And I thought about my relationship with my wife, with my friends, with people. And after, as I reflected on that, I decided to eliminate negative energy from my life. It's not perfect. It's a lot better. I've not had a fight with my wife in 2 years. It feels great. I'm no longer trying to be right. I choose to be happy. The third thing I learned, and this is as your mental clock starts going 15, 14, 13, you can see the water coming. I'm saying, please blow up. Right? I don't want this thing to break in 20 pieces like you've seen in those documentaries. And as we're coming down, I had a sense of, wow, dying is not scary. It's almost like we've been preparing for it our whole lives. But it was very sad. I didn't want to go. I love my life. And that sadness really framed in one thought, which is, I only wish for one thing. I only wish I could see my kids grow up. About a month later, I was in a performance by my daughter, first grader, not much artistic talent, yet. And I'm bawling, I'm crying like a little kid. And it made all the sense in the world to me. I realized at that point, by connecting those two dots, that the only thing that matters in my life is being a great dad. Above all, the only goal I have in life is to be a good dad. I was given the gift of a miracle of not dying that day. I was given another gift, which was to be able to see into the future and come back and live differently. I challenge you guys that are flying today. Imagine the same thing happens on your plane, and please don't. But imagine, and how would you change? What would you get done that you're waiting to get done because you think you'll be here forever? How would you change your relationships and the negative energy in them? And more than anything, are you being the best parent you can? Thank you.
I put that in there, and I said this, and the question was asked over here. What did I just say before I walked off? And the reason we do financial planning, the benefits of financial planning, are not financial. It frees up the space in your mind to do the things like what really matters. So that's why we do what we do. And if you have more questions, I'm going to be here afterwards. There's more cookies, there's more coffee, there's more juice. There's lemonade. The more you eat and drink, the less I have to take home. So please do that. Thank you very much for coming.